everyone. This is Angela Watecki, and I'm currently the East Regional Director of AWELMA. And today's Webbit will cover how to manage your Gmail inbox. And today I'm just going to go over a couple features that you may or may not be aware of within your Gmail, and just as a way to kind of get you to organize your email and not feel so overwhelmed every time you go into your Gmail, because I know a lot of us just get inundated with emails all the time, so we're going to try to make things a little bit easier for us. The very first thing I'm going to show you about Gmail is the labels feature. Labels are basically another word for folders, and labels are really nice because whenever you get an email, if you want to keep it, my rule of thumb is, okay, it needs to go into a label. So to set up labels, it's very easy. You go to the right-hand side to the little settings wheel, and you click on that, and then you click on settings, and then you'll see a little tab that says labels. If you click on that, and then scroll down, you'll see a labels heading, and then you'll see a button that says create a new label. And if you click on that, you can actually then create your labels that way. So for example, if I want to make a high school label, and I'm going to put that under a label I already have set up, which is my Nordonia, which is my school district label that I set up. So I'm going to have my high school label underneath my Nordonia label. So anything that comes in from the high school or that's about the high school that I want to keep for future reference, I'm going to have that label set up. If I click create, then it is set up. So that's one way of setting up labels. And then the labels show up over here on the left. And by simply by hovering over it, you can actually remove the label or add a sub-label. So you also can do that without going to the settings menu by just clicking on that down arrow. And then you can edit that label, remove it, or add a sub-label, which would be, for example, that high school sub-label. So that's one way of doing that. So that's the Labels tab, and once again, you can do that one of two ways. Another neat feature of Gmail, which a lot of people have not set up yet, is the Inbox feature. And if you click on the Inbox tab, most of us have our default set up for incoming email. However, I really like what's called the Unread First feature. So what that means is that when an email comes into my inbox, it's going to first go into an unread folder, or an unread section, I should call it. And that's going to be on my main Gmail screen. Once I open that email up, it's going to automatically go out of the unread folder or unread section and go into the everything else section. And I really like that because then you could very easily see that your email is in two different categories right off the bat. Either it's unread or you've read it. So I like that feature a lot. So you just go to Inbox and then Unread First. Now you can set up a couple other inbox features if you would like, and you can play around with those. For example, the priority inbox a lot of people use. So you can play around with those features, but I think for most of us who are just getting started with kind of all of these special features, the Unread First would really be the way to go. So that is that inbox. Another really cool feature is the labs. And Google Labs are basically experimental stuff that they're playing with that they have not 100% adopted as default features of Gmail. And that includes some things like the undo send, which I highly recommend everyone enable that one. And with that one, if you send an email and then you realize that maybe you spelled something wrong and it's a blatant error, or maybe you weren't quite done with that email, you actually have a few seconds, I believe it's almost 10 seconds, to actually undo that send. And then it goes right back into your compose section. So you don't have to worry about sending an email and then needing to send another one that says, oops, sorry, I didn't mean that. So that's the undo send. Another one that I have enabled that I really like is the unread message icon. So if you have multiple windows open, you can actually see how many messages you haven't read yet, right from that without even really being in your Gmail and just having it as a window. So that's kind of a nice feature. And if you scroll down, they have a lot of other ones. They have ones that have to do with inserting images, have to do with Google Docs preview in mail, which is kind of nice if you're putting Google Docs in your email, inserting chat features, emoji, and all of those. So those are kind of the Google Labs, and you can easily enable or disable them based on kind of your preference and what you want to do. And like I said, sometimes they come and go, sometimes they stay around, and sometimes they're actually integrated into the full-fledged Gmail feature. Another really cool thing are the themes. A lot of people kind of want to customize their Gmail, make it colorful, make it kind of customized. So if you go to themes, you can make color themes. They have HD themes. They have classic themes. And with these, what's really cool is if any of the themes have a little clock in the lower corner, that means that it's going to change with the time of day. So based on your time zone, if it's nighttime, then maybe this ocean scene would have a nighttime kind of look to it. So it kind of changes up throughout the day. So that's kind of a neat feature within your email. So real quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my inbox and just kind of review. I do have my inbox set up so that my unread messages are at the top section and everything else is at the bottom. And I try to keep my everything else kind of clear because, like I said, if it's not going to have a label and it's not going to be deleted, then it needs to be in that everything else, which isn't the best place to just keep emails for days on end. So to keep your Gmail organized, try to have a label for everything if it's not going to get deleted. So I have two emails that I've actually sent myself as a sample. The first one is going to be a sample Owelma email. So say I have an email set up and I want it to go into my Owelma folder. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click to the Move To icon, which looks like a little folder. And I'm going to scroll down to my Owelma folder. And I'm going to click on that, and it's going to actually directly put that email. I haven't even read it yet. It's going to put it into that Owelma label. Okay, and as I can see, there's one email in there that I still need to read that I haven't read yet. So it tells you that based on that parentheses. Also, I have this, email to address at a later time. So this is an example of something that will go in that everything else section. So I'm going to click on this email, and maybe this is an email that I need to address at another time. Maybe I need to have a couple minutes to think about how I want to word something, or maybe I want to attach a Google Doc to this and reply with it. So once I'm done with that, if I go back to my inbox, it sometimes takes a couple times, but it will move into this everything else box. And in the unread folder, anything that is bold is unread. So like I said, sometimes it does take a couple times to actually go into everything else, but it will eventually. And then that way you can read that email or reply to that email at another time. But it's still in your main section and it's not in a folder. One more feature I'm going to show you real quickly is the filter feature, which is a really cool feature. It's in your settings menu. You go to filters and you go to create a new filter. What's really nice about this is if you get, for example, Groupon emails or Living Social emails, or maybe even listserv emails, and you want them to automatically go, instead of in your unread folder, you want them to automatically go into a label. What you do is just type in that email address that it's coming from. So for example, the Owelma listserv. And once you start typing, if you've received email from them before, it should automatically generate. You may need to enter in that address. But anything from Owelma, I'm going to create a filter, and I'm going to have it go directly into my label, Owelma, so that it's not actually going to hit my unread folder. It's going to go right into my Owelma folder. And then that way I can check my Owelma folder maybe at the end of the day or maybe on a Saturday morning and kind of go through my emails all at once instead of having to feel like you're always getting emails and you don't have time to actually open them up. So it's a way to kind of visually organize things right off the bat. If there's a certain address you're getting spam from, you can insert that and it will automatically delete it. Okay, so if it's a certain address that's constantly sending you stuff, or a certain vendor that's constantly sending you stuff, you can actually put that address in as a from, and it will automatically delete it. If you have an email maybe from a principal, and every time it comes in, you want to make sure that you address it, you can actually mark it as an important email, and then that will go into a section in your email, and it will be marked as important. Okay. You could also star it. So anything from your principal, you can put a star to, and that way visually you know that that's an important one. So those are some ways to set up filters, and I recommend setting those up, especially if you kind of want to organize your email so that it works the best for you. And as you can see, that one email that I wanted to address at a later time did pop into that everything else folder. So basically, I have no unread messages, which we love to see that. And this I will address at a later time once I gather my information and I'm ready to send that email out. So visually, it's going into that. So those are kind of the basics of Gmail in terms of setting up your labels, setting up your filters, setting up your inbox, and then of course the Google Labs and the themes. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and have a lovely day.